I'm like, oh, Kayla was already on here. You're so sweet. Okay, so I have to do something. It might be noisy, but I have to clean off my screen with this microfiber. So just bear with me. I'm here though, freaking finally. I know I have to watch my mouth over here. Thanks for the already thumbs up. I'm assuming that's from Kayla. Thank you. So I'm just gonna wait for a minute because I know I said noon. First I said 10, then I said noon. So I have this little setup. Let me just show you guys real quick. And it's actually Mike's, but you made it, Natalie. I'm here. I have to figure out how to like loosen this and then put it on. No, don't go down, dude. Okay, there we go. Oh my gosh, there's 5 people on here. So, okay, I'm gonna plug in this microphone and I'm gonna see. Tell me, okay, here's the audio. Can you guys hear me? So glad I have something to hold my phone because before when I've done live, I haven't been live on YouTube in so long because it makes me freaking nervous as hell. I know I have to watch it. Hey, Steph's here. Melissa, hey. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, let me pull this up on my computer so I can maybe read the comments, but I don't know. I just had a thought. And I want to see how delayed it is too. So, and I also have the questions on my computer because obviously I'm live on my phone. Well, maybe not obviously, but I'm live on my phone. So, oh, it's not that delayed. Okay, cool. That's funny. All right, let me mute that. Let me pull up. I'm just literally gonna jump right into it. If you guys want to give this a thumbs up, that'd be awesome. Thank you. I have my coffee. Mike just went to the music store. He got home from work early. He's like, if you're gonna do this, I'm going to the music store. And I'm like, okay, fine. And he doesn't like being around for live streams very much anyway. He's kind of like, well, no, that's not true. On my Instagram ones, he's like fine with. But I don't think he's ever been around for. No, that's not true. My second YouTube live stream was right after we got married. And he says something funny. What did he say? He's like, oh, we're married till death do us part. Till death. So, any thumbs up, greatly appreciated. I really appreciate you guys being here. I'm just gonna jump right into it. But let me go to the first ones that I got. I'm actually gonna go to my YouTube ones because that's where I first put out the questions. Are you going to go over how you got into drug? Yeah, totally. I'll go over that. I don't want to make this like an hour-long live stream like sometimes I do over on Instagram, I know. But yeah. So just to like give you a quick backstory of how I got into like I don't know the YouTube like I don't know what I'm allowed to say on YouTube. I know on Instagram I can be a little bit more like open with like the terminology and stuff like that. Over here I may have to like abbreviate or just mouth it to you. So hopefully all is good with that. Hey Dawn, thanks for being here. And thank you guys that were over on Instagram and sent me like positive vibes, you know, all that good stuff. And sent me questions as well over on Instagram. I totally understand if you want them to be anonymous. These ones are not anonymous, but just to give you a quick backstory of how I got into it. So my parents told me they were getting a divorce right before I was graduating high school. That was the first time I really ever saw my brother really cry. First time I ever saw my dad cry. And it was very like when your parents are together your entire life up until that point, and then all of a sudden like they're not. This is weird to see me on a screen. Let me block that and just put the questions over me. Okay. And then they're not. It didn't hit me for a little bit. I mean, I started like just going out with my girls and stuff like that, but I think that then stemmed over to after being out of high school and just like trying to figure out like you know after high school you're like what do I do with my life unless you're going to college, which I didn't. I went to cosmetology school twice and I realized that's a whole nother story. But other than that, I just like that and then just graduating high school and like all this change happening and like, you know, my dad kept the house for a little bit, but then he ended up getting rid of it because my brother was getting older and just didn't need all the room. It was a massive house, and that was really hard because that was the house I grew up in, and I still drive by the house. Like when we first moved back here, I drove by the house for the first time, and I was just like, I still want to go knock on the door of that house. I'm not seeing like a ton. Oh, there. I needed to click the thing. My bad. Um, okay, there's the comments. Hey, sweetie, how are you? Hey, Trish. We're doing good. We're doing good. We're on the struggle bus for a little bit, but I was sick, and then Lily was sick, and Mike was gone. And of course, as soon as she got sick, like she got sick literally the day he left, and so we were on the struggle bus a little bit. But oh, here I can see the comments down here too. Duh. That's actually kind of good because they're bigger, but I can see them up here too. So anyway, yeah, it was just like that kind of started the whole thing. And then just to fast forward a little bit, I got into a relationship. We were together for like 4 years. I think it was 4 years, maybe 4.5. And in that relationship, we used uppers. He had a I don't know what I'm allowed to say on YouTube. I'm going to have to learn that as I go and talk about this more on YouTube. Good. I'm glad you guys are doing good. Yeah, how is everybody? Let me know. I'm sorry that I'm not asking you that. I just want to like kind of jump into it. So like anyone that rewatches this doesn't have to I want to read the comments. You guys know I'm all about reading every single comment. But I also, for anyone that rewatches, I just want them to be able to enjoy it as well. So it's kind of like a balance because, you know, sorry, my hand just went right above the camera. I love to read all the comments. Thanks for asking, Trish. Yeah, he had a prescription too. And that was kind of like the same thing as, I mean, you could and do this way. And that was really usually, actually always my way of doing any type of but usually with him, I never really did it. I just would swallow. And that was, then fast forward, I got out of that relationship. The devastation of getting out of that relationship was traumatic for a reason that I've only told one, like, friend that I've ever met on social media that knows the story of what happened and kind of why that relationship ended, but it was ending before that anyway. It was all not good. But he's a great person. I mean, to this day, we'll call him Steven. To this day, Steven, I actually ran into his mom. His mom has always loved me. I've always been a person that mom's always loved me. But his mom has always loved me, and she even told me that it was really hard when she finally just had to like cut me off because I was like a daughter to her. And that was like just really hard to hear. And she didn't have to cut me off for the reason of, she had to cut me off for a different reason, which I'll explain when I do my full like addiction story video, which it may be a few months, but maybe sooner. I just don't know. I'll get there. But fast forward to that, got out of that relationship for a massive reason. Let me know if you guys can hear me like okay, because I have this new microphone plugged in. I just want to make sure all is good. Sorry, it's hard to like, I remember all this stuff so vividly. Like if you guys were on my Instagram live, that first one, thanks Melissa. If you were on my first one, you know that I shared a lot in that first one that I didn't realize that. Yeah, loud and clear. Oh, thanks, Steph. Loud and clear, good. That I didn't know that I was even going to share. Like, I just thought I was going to go on there and talk a little bit about addiction, and I shared way more than I ever thought I would. Hi, Sarah. Christina, Trish, thanks. Thank you, guys. So, got out of that, and then, let me think where to hop to from there. Where I hop to from there is I got a job at this, I still haven't decided if I want to share where this place is, but I got a job at this luxury place that people go to. Not like anything weird or anything like that. Totally normal job. But got a job there, and uh, I said this on my Instagram live stream. They hire felons. They do that because they get paid if they hire felons. So hint, hint. Some, I'll just say it. Some hotels, your housekeeping, they are felons. So just, watch your stuff when you go to hotels. But yes, this particular management of this hotel, it's a very luxurious hotel um, around not necessarily the area I live, but close. Um, and they hire felons, and that's not to say I'm all about hiring felons that have changed their lives around, because I feel like the justice system really does not do us right in the form of it's very hard for you to get your life back on track after you have a felony on your record, and I've had a felony on my record. It's since been expunged. I was for theft by taking. I took something from my mother. My mother was done with me, and she ended up pressing charges. She tried to take the charges back after I said I was going to go to the military. Don't even ask. But yeah. Oh, bye, Trish. I'm sorry if I missed you. So yeah, just I got in with the wrong crowd, pretty much. And I just want to be clear, I'm not all about not hiring felons, because trust me, I've been there when I've had a felony on my record and tried to get jobs, or tried to, even like someone said, trying to get housing. Or they look up all that stuff when it comes to like anything you do, anything you want, a job, a this, a that. But I'm all about hiring recovered reformed felons. Okay, so, and they all not were not that. So I got in with the wrong crowd, and this girl that I end up becoming best friends with, her name, if you say my name, it's her name. She introduced me to my first ever opiate. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here. Hopefully you caught what I just said. First ever. Little blue thing, you would be surprised what this thing could do to you. In certain places they call them Roxy's, we called them Perk 30s, but a lot of people around the US call them Roxy's. And I remember, sorry about all the I'm just nervous. It's kind of gone away, but I'm just trying. I'm so used to being live on. There's so much you have to do when you go live on YouTube. It's ridiculous. That's why I go live on Instagram, because it's so easy. And I want to make a good thumbnail and all that, whatever. And I remember the first time she ever introduced it to me, PewDiePie. Thanks for the notification that you just uploaded. Yeah, I'm subscribed to PewDiePie. I don't really watch him that much. Sometimes he's funny. But she introduced me to my first opiate, and shoot, I just said the word. Whatever, you do whatever you want. And I'll never forget that feeling. It was like this feeling of just like warmth, coziness. I sat in this recliner for I don't even know how long, a long time. And I just remember saying to her, like, this is the best thing ever. I'm like, if I could just have this feeling, like I can get through life. And I was dealing with so much at that time. I wish I could just come out and tell you guys what was going on. Because only like family and like one of my close friends even knows. Rex is very addicted. Yes, very, very. And if you, I mean, gosh, I mean, even if you get prescribed from a doctor, if you don't need pain pills, like just don't take them. Don't take them, because I'd never thought of myself as an addictive personality or anything like that, or an addict. But man, did it come out. And I don't have any bloodline history of anyone like having any alcoholism, addiction, nothing. No bloodline that I know of, unless it goes way, way back. So like my family, they had never dealt with anything like this. So it was very like, but having that first feeling, I'll never have that, even if I were to do it today. Everyone always says, everyone in like recovery or is recovered, they will always say like, I'm always chasing that first high, because you'll never get that ever again. And that's pretty much what I did. But it was more like with opiates, you can get it from different forms. You can get it in pill form. you can get it with the Tylenol, without the Tylenol is better. It's not, okay? But I'm just saying, like, in the mindset that I was in back then, without the Tylenol was better. So, like, Percocet, all those things. But they also have those things without the Tylenol. So they can be these little tiny things that can literally screw your life up for so long. And it's just, sorry, I'm trying to read the comments too. I'm pretty naive to all that. But does it start with an E? Does what start with an E? I'm so sorry. You mean very familiar with those. Yes, don't take pain unless you absolutely have to. Yeah, unless you I mean, and there's so many people that have to and they're physically addicted. You know what I mean? Hopefully, Melissa, I really want to answer your question. I if you're talking about E like yes, I have done that. I used to go to raves, but I used to also do like pain pills with ecstasy. But I was never like totally like into that. Like it was cool like for like a few nights, but then I'm like, I could take that or leave that. My thing was opiates. Um, Again, I'm learning as I go with what I can say on here and what I can't. Because I want to be able to like bring awareness, open people's minds and hearts to this without them taking um for years after I had yeah, that's so many people's stories. And actually, going back just a little bit before I had that little blue pill that I was introduced to, I was in the hospital one time for actually twice. But the second time wasn't as bad. But the first time for what I came to find out was an ovarian cyst. And they had given me a prescription to, and I remember my mom, like I was throwing up. I was hurled over in pain. They had me covered in like 10 heated blankets because I was so cold. It really messed me up. Those ovarian cysts can be very I still have one. I may have multiple. They can be fine or they can be really really just bad. I'm going to take this microphone out just for a minute just to plug my phone in. Let me know how the audio is. Just hopefully it didn't mess it up or anything. But so yeah, that's kind of like where it started. But yeah, she took that prescription from the doctor and wouldn't give it to me. And at that time, she didn't know me as an addict. She didn't know me as anything like that. You sound louder now. Oh, wow. Oh, good. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, this microphone, I'm just not familiar with it, so that's still good. Awesome. Oh, Courtney. Courtney, I didn't want to. Hi, babe. Okay, way better. Oh, well then screw this microphone. Louder. Okay, awesome. Sorry. I'm just trying to like go in like order and not totally go off topic. She didn't know me as an addict then. I didn't know myself as an addict then. So it was really weird the fact that she took that from me. And later down the line, I ended up actually finding that in her files and going and get it filled. I even would go to hospitals and say that I had like a fractured ankle. They would check on my. Back then, you could do that stuff, and doctors would prescribe me pain. I mean, so many. I would go to urgent cares, hospitals, anything, anywhere I could go to get free because I was under insurance under my stepmother and my dad at the time, and I could get it for free, which was awesome for a drug addict that would hustle every single day. You would wake up every single day, try to find money, and then try to find what you needed. So to be able to just go to it was so just, looking back, like I would waste my whole day. Because when you go to a hospital, you have to sit in the room. If you guys could give this video a thumbs up, anyone that's watching, I'd really appreciate it. You know how long the emergency rooms are when you sit there and you have to wait and just, I would waste my whole day doing that. But I would also waste my whole day if I didn't do that, trying to find the money to try to go get the stuff and try to find the stuff and, who am I going to get it from today? And, oh, they're out. Like, now what do I do? Because you have to have it every day. Otherwise, you get sick. But so that was interesting to me that my mom took that from me. But she just knew that they were highly addictive. And I think that was the only mindset she had. She didn't have anything in her mind like that I had an addictive personality or anything like that. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up all of a sudden. Thank you. I appreciate that. withdrawal is awful. I'll talk about that. But going just to fast forward very quickly through my story because we're already at 20 minutes. Because I want to go more in detail. Like, this is very like general, like top part of my story. There's so many like in-depth parts of this. So I eventually ended up with that friend. I don't want to say her name, but it's my name. We'll call her Jennifer. With Jennifer, and she was the first one to introduce me to what became like the start of something horrible, my addiction. And that was the next day. We actually went to my friend, we'll call her Samantha. We went to Samantha's house. I think that's the same name I use on my Instagram live. I admire you, hun. You back stronger. Oh, thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate like all the messages. I just want to tell you guys like all the messages and all. I didn't know that when I spoke about this on my Instagram live that I would get messages and people asking me, you know, they have a close one to them that's literally withdrawing right now. Like, what do I do? What can I do to help them? And I always say I'm not a medical professional. So like anything I talk about on here when it comes to withdrawal, when I get there, I'm not a medical professional. It's just in my experience, okay? So all of this is just in my experience. My own addiction story, don't ever feel ashamed. Oh, thank you, Steph, thank you. Yeah, I feel like that's really important to like not feel ashamed of it, because me and Mike have said to each other so many times, we have lived a life that we've lived so much more than like a lot of other people. And a lot of it was bad, but we have learned so much in our life from this that some people will never ever learn in their entire lives. And so yeah, it is important to never feel ashamed. And everyone has their own story and their own struggle, and it may not be addiction, it may be something totally different and totally opposite. But to never feel ashamed of your story, because it's your story, and don't ever feel ashamed. Whether you talk about it publicly or not, don't feel ashamed. Melissa just uploaded. Hey, Melissa. I'm getting notifications of people uploading. So fast forward through that. The next day after I took that first little thing, my friend, we went over to our friend Samantha's house. We were like a threesome, and Samantha was pissed at my friend Jennifer because she was like, how dare you introduce that to her? How dare you? The reason she was so pissed is because her boyfriend was he had maybe a month clean, something like that, very little time. And she saw what it had done to him. We were in a group of friends, those friends that I became friends with, at this place that I worked at. Some were using, some were in recovery. And so she saw what it did to her boyfriend, her friends, and she's just like, how dare you introduce? And she's like, girl, she's fine. And I looked at her and I'm like, I'm fine. Like, I'm not doing it today. I'm totally good. Like, it was awesome. Don't get me wrong, but like, I'm good. Don't worry. Like, I just was trying to like ease her mind. And the next day I honestly wasn't like, oh, let's go get more. But then it started to become a thing, and I got a different job, and it was a great job. And I'll have to go into detail about that, like in my addiction story video. But I ended up moving in with Jennifer and Samantha, and they had easy access to anything. I mean, literally anything. And then the guy right down the street that my friend Samantha was friends with, he had them at all times. And I'm talking, and then eventually through them, I met a friend that I always say we weren't really boyfriend and girlfriend, but we hung out a lot, and he had very easy access to H. If you don't know what that is, I'm sure you can figure it out. I never used intravenously, nothing like that. Thank goodness. I did ask him one time, after using it a few times with him, because you can, I know a lot of people hear of H and all they think of is, and it's not always that way. It comes in powder form, and all I would do is my nose. That's the way that I would do it. And I remember one time asking him, I want to do it your way this time, because he would do it the intravenous way. And he said no. He said, absolutely not. He goes, no. And I kept asking. He's like, stop asking me. No. And I thank goodness every single day for whatever it was in him or whoever was watching over us that he said no to me. Because once that happens, you are down, okay? Like, it is go from there. And who knows if I would be here today if that were to have happened that day. And he was absolutely right to say no. Was he right to keep me around and keep giving me these for pretty much free? No. But also I wouldn't say it was all free, but like sometimes like he would come home and like he would have his and he would share it with me, or I would give him money, and you know, it wasn't always for free. Don't get me wrong about that. Like, we hustled the heck out of the world to get money for what we needed. So yeah, so that's kind of where it ended, was at his place after months and months. And I had my own apartment at this time. By that time, the electricity was off, and because I just didn't care. All I wanted was money for that. And it's so crazy to think about that. But finally I like realized, because I called my brother to see if he would, hi Sarah, I saw your text and I had my thing up and I was about to press, and I'm like, if I get off here, is it gonna not, and I had to set this whole thing up, and I know you said to text you, and I'm so sorry. I didn't want to like get off, and like I didn't know if like the live was gonna go away. So I'm sorry, Sarah, but you're here. I love you. Oh, you kept refreshing. So Sarah's here to moderate, just in case, because if you guys have ever been on my live streams before, I did one maybe back in like, I don't know, November? I don't know. It's been a little bit, but there's like a guy on here talking about, I mean, and then there's like sometimes you get weirdos that come on live streams. So I really appreciate Sarah being here. And she's going to answer like any questions, like if I don't see it, she can like help answer as well. But I'm kind of glad that there's like not a tremendous amount of people here, because that makes me nervous, and it's easier to like just hopefully get to the point as quickly as possible, because I know my live streams before have run on. But yeah, so finally I asked my brother for money to pay my electricity bill, which was not going to my electricity bill, even though my electricity was off. And he flat out, and my brother is not like this, but he flat out said, Jess, don't ever ask me for money. Who are you? I don't know who you are, and you're not going to use this for electricity. Don't tell me that you are. Don't call me again until you're good. And I just started crying, because my brother, he's my younger brother, and he's never talked to me that way. And my younger brother and I, we've always had this connection of just like, you know, when you have a connection with someone, you can just like communicate without even like you have your own way of communicating, and just like, I don't know. That's how we always were. And so for him to be like that, a few days later after that phone call, I called my mom and I told her what happened with Christopher, and I'm like, he's right. And I was standing on the balcony and I was just looking out onto this pond and just like looking up in the sky and just being like, what am I doing? And I called my mom and I'm just like, what do I do? Like, I need to get help. I need to go somewhere. Like, please help me get, and she had been done, you guys. Like, my family had cut me off. They weren't talking to me, nothing. I had nobody besides these friends. And at that point, I didn't even have Jennifer and Samantha, because they weren't really addicts. They were like occasionally, like they could take it or leave it. And they were over me, okay? Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Julia. Oh, don't be nervous, beautiful. I'm sure most of us are all here because we've been in the same rodeo. Oh, no judgment, just support. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Julia. I appreciate it so much. Caroline. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Carlina. Thank you. I'm just reading the comments for a minute. This is what people don't get. They think you just want to get high. There's a point where you just do the... Yeah, that's another thing is some people don't understand that, like, sometimes you just have to do it to feel, like, normal and not, like, in physical pain because of the withdrawal symptoms. And I'm going to get to that, but I just want to answer a few questions, too. But, yeah, that's a really, really, really good point, Stephanie. Steph. I give you props for talking about all things, Dawn. Yeah, and I really hope just, like, that was the thing with my Instagram Live is I had no idea until I started reading my private messages that there's, like, I just had no idea of the amount of people that were even following me that dealt with or dealing with or have, like, a very close one to them going through it right now and asking for just advice or just wanting to talk about it. Like, I had no idea. So after that, I was like, I need to, I don't know, it just gave me, like, something in me just to talk about it, and hopefully it can help someone in some way. I don't want to, like, glorify anything, but I just want you to know, like, when I'm talking about this, I'm not glorifying it. I'm just telling you how it happened in the time. And their natural state is had around. Yes, exactly. That's so true. If you use them in their natural state. Yes, I totally agree with that because marijuana, it's not legal in this state. Medical is, but not like how California is or Colorado, I believe. Yeah, I'm all on board for all of that stuff. But things like this that are man-made, like everything that goes behind it, I mean, it's literally insane. The stuff that they cut it with now, it's deadly. So, like, I got out of the game just in time before all of these. There was a massive epidemic going around right after I got out of all these people just dropping everywhere. And because of what they cut it with now, it's not good. Like, there's people, every 9 minutes, somebody dies from an overdose. And I actually have a friend who is a police officer. I don't know if I should have said that, but whatever. And I said, how many, times a week do you get a phone call for an overdose? He goes, how many times a week? He goes, ask me how many times a day. And I just heard that and I was like, I don't know, it really messes with my head. Love you, girl. You're amazing. I gotta go. Oh, Sarah, love you. Thank you so much, all and everyone in the chat. We know you're not trying to glorify, but it's okay. You don't have to explain that part, baby girl. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, I never want to, like, glorify. I just want to talk. Junk is poison. Yeah, they are crazy with junk because only money is important to them. Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with it. Yep, I totally agree with that, Darko. We have a sober living facility next door. Oh, do you really, Courtney? I didn't know that. It is all the time now. Yeah, it's really, like, just sad. Just, the amount of people, and I'm not even going to bring up what I brought up in my live stream on Instagram because I'll start crying, but I'm not even going to start. So that's kind of where it ended. My mom just said, I'm not going to help. Like, if you want help, you got to help yourself, because if I help you, like, it's just enabling you even more, even though it's, like, trying to get me to treatment. But her helping me is just, it's, I guess you would have to be there to, like, understand, but her helping me would just be like her helping me. And it's just, I'm so glad that she didn't, okay? Because what I ended up doing is I ended up getting out of there. I ended up calling 911 and saying that I didn't want to live anymore, even though that was not the case. But my point is that if she would have helped, exactly. It wouldn't have been the same if she would have helped. My point is to get me into the hospital so that they will keep me there until I get to a treatment center. I didn't even have that in my mind yet to, like, figure out the treatment center part. I'm like, just get me to a place where I'm safe and and just away from all of this. And at the time, I actually, because somebody made a good point, so I got myself there, but before I got to the hospital, police officers came, not like an ambulance, and they came and they laughed at me, and they're like, are you really? Do you really? What's in your purse? Like, and they checked, like, I didn't have anything on me, nothing like that. And I was expecting an ambulance, and police officers showed up, and I'm like, what? Like, and they literally laughed at me because they've probably seen it 10,000 times, but it's like, you never laugh at someone that tells you that, first of all. You never know if they're telling the truth or not. And I still hate those officers to this day, but whatever. I kept telling them and kept telling them, and they're like, they're not going to hold you. They're not going to hold you. And I'm like, I kept repeating it. I just kept repeating it. I kept repeating it. And yeah, it sucks that they laughed at me. I mean, I hate them to this day, but whatever. Nothing to be sorry about. Yeah, it's really messed up, the fact that they laughed at me. But maybe they could tell that I was like, you know, an addict, and they just thought, but they said, no, they're not going to hold you. Well, guess what? They held me, and they held me for 2.5 freaking weeks. And luckily somebody made a point in my Instagram live, because I didn't mention this, because I said that I wasn't detoxing while I was in that hospital. And the reason is because I had just gone to see a doctor to get on Suboxone, because I wanted to get off of all of this stuff. And the only reason I was able to get Suboxone while I was in the hospital, locked up, was because of the fact that I had just seen this doctor that prescribed it to me, while there was also other addicts in this psych ward. Again, I don't know what I can say on YouTube yet or not, so I'm just like kind of going with it. So while I was in there, and I just they weren't mad at me, but they were mad like at the nurse. They would go up to the nurse and be like, can I get what she has? She's totally comfortable. And I didn't have it for a few days. It took a little bit for the doctor to like authorize and get it, not get it to me, but authorize it and get it to where I was in the hospital. Like authorize the nurses to give it to me. And thankfully I was able to get it and be comfortable for 2.5 weeks while I was there. And finally I'm there, and I'm like, not really thinking, but I just had a thought in my mind, and I'm like, what if I just asked like one of them to give me like a number, like a hotline number? Because I would see on TV all the time. This is the weird part, is I would see all the time. I'd be sitting there, and I would see this treatment center, this specific treatment center. I didn't end up going there, and this guy, every single day for months and months, I saw this. And I'm just like, I kept thinking to myself, like, gosh, if I could just get there, like, why can't I go to a place like that? And I ended up at a place like that. It wasn't that place, but I did. And yeah, so I ended up having that thought in my mind. The nurse gave me a hotline, and she was so sweet. And I thank goodness every day that she gave me this hotline number, this specific one. And it hooks you up with your insurance, and also just like, it hooks you up with your insurance and what your insurance will cover in terms of treatment. Thank goodness I had the best insurance in the world at the time. I have good insurance now, but back then it was amazing. And I had multiple different options. I had an option to go to Tulsa. I had an option to go to Newport Beach, California, which Sarah, Natalie, maybe would have met you. At least I would have been out on the West Coast. But I was destined to go to Florida. I had the option, the third option was West Palm Beach, Florida. And I thought, Tulsa, no, thank you. No shade to anyone that lives in Oklahoma, but if you have a chance to go to a beach, I'm going to pick one of the beaches. Sorry. So I ended up picking West Palm Beach because I thought California, I'm like, it's too far of a flight, and I want family to be able to come visit me. Even though I thought that I was only going for 30 days, I was just thinking like, that wise, like at least family could come visit me during those 30 days if they wanted to. Because it's only like an hour and 45-minute from here, plane ride. The whole world now knows our natural state when we're connected with the earth and our bare feet. Those hotline numbers do help people. They really do. So anyone on here, if anyone on here is struggling, those hotline numbers actually really do help people. The person that I spoke to was amazing. The person that I ended up speaking to once they connected me to the treatment center that I chose, which was in, they said West Palm Beach when they announced it to me, but it was specifically in Delray Beach, where I ended up living for 7 years. That's pretty cool. And that's why Delray Beach means so much to me, because I feel like that's where my life really began. But yeah, that's kind of like the backstory to everything. But that's where I started. I'll go into this in the video, but yeah, I finally left there. They paid for everything, insurance paid for everything, but they paid for my ticket. My mom finally I called my mom and I told her, I called my dad, I told him, and my mom's finally like, okay, go. And then she's like, wait, she called me back. She's like, I'm not letting you go there by yourself. Like, I'm just gonna let you go on a plane, go to Florida. You're an addict. And no. So she came down, she checked everything out. Everything was amazing. I mean, the treatment center was absolutely incredible. So detox is different than treatment. You go to a detox center, unless you go to there have been some treatment centers that are all in one, but mostly, for the most part, from what I've seen, detox is separate. They're separate companies, separate buildings, everything. So my detox center, you can look it up. It was Sunrise. It's called Sunrise in Fort Lauderdale. And you guys, it was brand new. It was the nicest place I've ever been to. I didn't want to leave. They keep you comfortable enough to the point where you're not in physical pain, you're not throwing up, you're not left and right, because it comes out this way and it comes out this way, okay? And you're sweating cold sweats. Withdrawal is absolutely horrible. I'll get into that in a minute. Again, I don't want to make this super long, but yeah, it's hard to tell the story leading up to because there's so much, and I don't want to miss too much, but I also don't want to give it all away, because there's so much that goes into everything that I just said. It explained me it was explained to me that they need different medical steps. Well, the thing of it is that in treatment centers, a lot of treatment centers hire recovered addicts, and that's not always the best thing to do. And at the time, my treatment center was semi-new, and they were trying to figure things out, which I'm kind of grateful for that, because I got to keep my cell phone, which is usually not a common thing when you're very new in treatment. I didn't have my cell phone in detox, so I was in detox for 10 days, I believe it was. But then you have to detox from detox, because they give you these medications to keep you comfortable, but they also give you other things, so many other things. They will give you to keep you, if you have anxiety withdrawal, which that was one of my withdrawal symptoms. So they give you many things. So it's almost it's definitely a money-hungry industry, but they do help people at the same time. So I never want to put a bad name on treatment centers, because they do help people, but they got almost $50,000 from my insurance, okay? And when I did something bad, they took me right back, because they knew my insurance was really good. So, but I will never, I never want to say a bad thing about them, because they saved my life. They literally did. And I also I'll go into all of that in my addiction story video. But yeah, that's kind of how I got to that's kind of the backstory, a long version of the backstory. So yeah, I just thank goodness every single day. That detox center was so great. But yeah, you have to detox from detox, and that was horrible. And the half-life of what they give to you in detox is longer than H. So I actually could have detoxed in a shorter amount of time. Maybe it would have been more miserable. But yeah, I ended up having to detox from detox, and that takes even longer. It could take up to 2 weeks for some people. It takes 8 days it just depends on your body. Sorry if I'm missing some comments. As someone who suffers from depression, Christina said, that sucks that they did that. There's nothing funny at that at all. Yeah, absolutely not. This officer is absolutely horrible. For $50K, everybody will help you. Exactly. So true. For 50K, they will do anything. I could have relapsed 10,000 times and they would have taken me back. Maybe not 10,000, but 10. I've watched withdrawal from alcohol. Oh, from alcohol and benzos. Those are the two things that you can literally die from when you're withdrawing. So they have to be very careful when they're withdrawing you from those things. Yeah, that's horrible to watch. I've seen withdrawal from every single drug you could imagine. Meth. Seeing people come off of meth is very scary. They're very scary. They're very angry, and I mean, I was very angry because like I now could feel my emotions, and like anger was a massive one. One time I got into this argument. It wasn't necessarily a fight, but it was an argument with this girl, and I literally blacked out, and I didn't even remember the argument because I was so angry. But yeah, I've seen everyone detox from anything from alcohol to H to anything in between there. The thing about H is that, or anything opiate-wise, is it's all very physical. So when you're going through withdrawal, it's cold sweats, but you could have, like, you're sweating, but you're freezing. So you could have, like, 2 layers of sweats on. You are, I would say it's 30% mental and 70% physical. 30% for me was the just anxiety of it. Just, like, I was so anxious, like, and the shaking, you just have to have the willpower. And, like, anyone that wants to get clean, you have to do it for yourself. Like, I literally could not do it for anyone else. And I had someone that I could have said that I was doing it for, and I couldn't even do it for that person. I had to do it for myself. I really, really did. And that's my advice to anyone that says, like, I want to, but this person, or, you know, I have a close friend that is on this. What do I do? And I'm like, they literally have to do it for themselves. The best thing you can do is literally cut them off. Don't give them any money, okay? Don't. If they're saying they're paying their electricity bill, no, they're not. No, they're not, okay? Look me in the eyes right now. No, they're not. And cut off communication. I know it's so hard because maybe that might be the last time you'll talk to them, but maybe it won't be, okay? I always try to, when someone talks to me about this, show them the positives, because there's so many people that have recovered and have gone through. I mean, look it up on YouTube. Just watch all the positives of all these people that have recovered and have these amazing lives and have families, and or just are just living a happy life. You don't have to have a family to be happy, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, look up Jessica Kent. Look up her story. I mean, it's insane. It's incredible. It's tremendous. I've watched withdrawal from, it was awful. Oh, Melissa, I'm sorry. No, I did not know that story, Melissa. Yeah, that's heart-wrenching. I'm so sorry, Melissa. Really sorry. It's so sad. Withdrawal from payments is body ache. Yeah, there we go. Steph just said all the symptoms. Read Stephanie's comment. So I don't have to drag this on too long. Hot flashes, yes. Cold chills, yes. Coming out here, coming out there, all the time. Mood swing. It's just, yeah. It's horrible. It's your worst enemy. Oh, thank you, Darko, for joining. I really appreciate your comments. It was just explained to me that I just want to make sure I'm not missing any comments. Okay. Yeah. Read Stephanie's comment for any, if you want to know any about the withdrawal symptoms, because she pretty much covered it right there. So I don't have to drag you out too long on that, because I could talk about withdrawal for so long. But yeah, if you have anyone close to you that's dealing with this, I hate to say it, try to be encouraging when you talk to them, but they're not going to do it. They're not going to stop unless they want to. Maybe try to get them to a meeting to hear other people talk about it, but they're just not going to stop unless they want to. So yeah, that's pretty much it with that. And this, I'll go into it more when I tell like full addiction story in more detail because it's a lot, and it's probably going to be like an hour and a half video, but I hope you guys would appreciate it. Okay, so the first question I got is from Lacey, and she said, I have many addictions, never had drug or alcohol, but once I consumed my mind, and I've been considering writing a book, tell my story, and try and help other women who are going through what I've been through. I hope to work on myself through them. Do you think this would be a good idea to help me cope with the bad past so my children and my man don't have to be the ones to suffer when I have a bad day? I think absolutely. And I think just writing down in general, like if I'm having a bad day, like I'll go, I know this sounds so cliche, but just writing the things that you're grateful for, I think that's a great thing. I wouldn't see why that wouldn't be an amazing thing to do for not just you, but for other people too. Because I could imagine what you're going through, and what you've been through. And addiction is not just, I feel like when people hear addiction, they think just drugs and alcohol, and it's not. There's so many other addictions. So yeah, to help yourself, getting it out on paper is like something that I've learned is I had a journal, I still have it. I should get that out. Oh my gosh. Not now, but I will. I have a journal that I kept while I was in treatment, and a lot of it was letters to this specific person that I can't really bring up right now. But I would love to like maybe read some of that stuff to you to like get you in my mind of what I was going through at that time. But to get your stuff out on paper and just get it out is amazing. The next question was, so yes, I would say absolutely, of course, Lacey. And whatever you went through, whatever you're going through, you're very strong for doing what you did and are doing. How long did it take for you and your family to adjust after you got clean and trust you? That's a really good question. A long time. I would say it took a couple years at least. And then even after that, it took a little while just for them to, and even me moving back here after being gone for 7 years, was an adjustment too. Like, you know, they had to remember, and I had to remember, like, when you're in their home, like, they don't have to worry, and I don't have to worry about, like, oh, is she, you know, she can go in my bedroom by herself. You know, like, those type of things. Like, she's not going to take my jewelry. Things like that. So, yeah, it took a while for them to adjust, years, after I got clean, which is November 4th of 2012. And, yeah, and then after we moved back here, it was, like, just not a massive adjustment, but maybe it took, like, a few weeks for, like, when we would go over to their house, just being like, oh my gosh, like, I can go in their bedroom and they don't, like, have to be there. Or, like, I can go in this bathroom and they don't have to worry about me drifting this way to try to maybe see if they have money or something like that. And they also realized that too, like, she's here and, like, everything's good. So that was really cool to see, like, just being in their homes and just having that trust back again, because gaining that trust back takes a long time. What can we as a support system do? Melissa asked this. Lillian asked the last question, by the way. And this is on YouTube. The other ones are anonymous, just so you know. What can we do as a support system, do or say that is actually helpful to someone going through addiction or recovery? So that's kind of what I was saying before. Anyone that's going through addiction, the best thing you can do, don't enable them. Maybe try to take them to a meeting to hear what people have to say. I don't work a program anymore. I don't go to meetings anymore, but I have here and there. But and I did complete my 12 steps. But after that, it kind of got to the point where it was like hearing the same thing over and over again, and I don't want to talk about it every day. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to live my life. But try to get them to a meeting. If they refuse that, honestly, the best thing to do is cut them off financially and communicate. Like, don't communicate with them. I know that sounds horrible, but that was what my family did to me, and it saved my life. In recovery, if they're recovering, be there for them. Ask them every day if they're okay. Or maybe not every day. If they're like, you're asking too much, just check in with them. Make sure everything's good. If you see that anything's off, you know, check in with them. And just, like, especially in early recovery, just checking in and making sure they're talking to like-minded people. but also sticking with the right crowd, that's the best thing that you can do. Let me go to the other questions, because I know we're coming up on 54 minutes here, and I don't want this to ramble on too much. So thank you guys so much that have hung in there. What was the rock bottom point? These are anonymous, by the way. What was the rock bottom point where you realized that this wasn't what you wanted? That was when I was on the phone with my mom, looking out onto the pond, out to the sky, and just being like, I need you to help me. Like, I need you to get me to a treatment center. And after that phone call with my brother, that was my rock bottom point. Because I had finally, I mean, there could have been many other rock bottom points, but you would have thought jail would have been my rock bottom point. Yes, I went to jail. Not for too long, but I did. But it wasn't. You know what I did is the second I got out of jail, my dad took me to Arby's, and he dropped me back off in my apartment that I was living at with Jennifer and Samantha. And the first thing I did when I walked in the door, I told her, I was texting her on the way back, I'm like, please have some ready for me. And she, like I said, she wasn't an addict or anything like that, and she did. And I'm like, because I feel like crap. And she did, and we went to a rave that night, and we went to a hotel. It was in Louisville or Lexington, something like that. And we went to a rave, did a whole bunch of, hi, my name's Molly, how are you? Yeah, that's what I did the day I got out of jail. So have you ever thought of counseling? What did Sarah say? Jail's a trigger, I feel like. Yes, and jail was, oh my gosh, I was detoxing in there. It was awful. And I was also in there with a lot of addicts too, and they were talking about just, it was horrible. I'll have to tell you something funny about that. I cuddled, I'll have to tell you guys later. It's funny, but I don't want to tell everything right now. It was so wonderful that you were here for your, oh, thank you. I know, and that's the thing, like, seeing my life today, like, I don't know that person. Like, me, that person that was, I look back and I'm like, I literally do not know who that person is. It's a very weird feeling, very weird. But yeah, that's like the best way I can explain it. Because I'm not that person. And I wasn't before that. So my ex went to jail and got out, used, and died. Yep, Sarah has a story to tell too. And it's just like, see, like it people can have their rock bottoms, and next thing you know, like, that happens, and it's so horrific and horrible. And the amount of people that we've known in recovery that went back out and used one time and died is, I said this the other day, I think it's 6, and the last one was like our best friend, and I can't talk about it any more than that, because I can't. You are so amazing and strong, and it takes a lot to overcome addiction. Thank you, Allison. Lacey, love you. Oh, Lacey's here. Wait. Were you here before? Or did I read one of your, I read one of your questions. And I said, yes, absolutely. Let me make sure it was your question. Yes. So, now that you're here, yes, absolutely do that. Because I think it's very important to get your feelings out on paper. I did go into a little bit more detail if you rewind it, like from this point, maybe like 10 minutes before this, if you rewatch it. But yeah, I say go for it. Absolutely, girl. Whitney, I'm so proud of you. Thanks, Whitney. I love you. Thank you guys so much. You have no idea. I could say thank you over and over again. So this one is, hi, sweetie. You are so brave for doing this. Does anything trigger you? I am very naive on this. Honestly, today, no, nothing does. I mean, I can watch things like, a lot of people can't watch like shows like Early Intervention because they do show a lot, or just shows about drugs in general. Like I'll look at it, like if I'm watching it, I don't go I don't sought out, is that the right word? I don't go looking for these shows, but if it pops up and I'm like, I'm actually like interested because I want to know what's going on in the world with addiction and things like that. So sometimes I will watch it, and it definitely doesn't trigger me, but sometimes I'll look at it and be like, gosh, that was great back in the day. But it doesn't make me want to go back out and use. When I say go back out, that means like relapse. It doesn't make me want to go back out and use at all. Like I have so much in my life now that they say in the room, when I say in the rooms, that means like at meetings. When they say in the rooms, never say never. I don't believe in that, because I truly believe that I will never. I have too much in my life now. I have too much to lose. And regardless of that, I don't want that life anymore. It was horrible. So, but yeah, there are people that a lot of stuff does trigger. Like certain people can't watch, I'll say someone close to me can't watch. They were an intravenous user, and they just cannot watch or what's it called? Not early intervention. Intervention, I think is the name. Sorry, I totally just used the wrong terminology. You know that show, and they show a lot on that show. And they one time we were watching it, and they were like, I can't watch this. Like, please, like, change the channel. Because they were an intravenous user, they were showing that, and it's just a lot of intravenous users. That is like the whole thing about it, like getting it ready, like getting the whole. I don't want to like go into it too much, but the whole part of getting it ready is even an addiction in itself. So that is a lot of trigger for a lot of people. What if are any of your biggest triggers, and how do you get through it? So that was another question, and I kind of just answered that. So thank you guys so much for the questions. Let me just double check. I had a few other questions, but I'm going to save them because it dives a little bit deeper into just my addiction story, and I really want to read some of your comments, and I also just want to save that for my full addiction story, which we're at 61 minutes. Gosh, but I'll be able to edit that. So hopefully it'll be, you know, an hour or less. I might have to break it into two. I really don't know. I really don't want to break it into two, though, because then that's just stupid. So Sarah, first of all, let me thank you for just being here, even though you didn't have to moderate too many or any crappy comments. That's amazing, but thank you so much for being here and doing that. You are so amazing and strong. Thank you, Allison. Lacey. Okay, Lacey, I wanted to get to your comment. I learned writing is something that helps a lot. Yeah, definitely helps a lot. And what I was saying is that, oh, Lacey, absolutely. Absolutely go for it. What I was saying is that when I was in treatment, I have a journal, and I actually still have it. And that was one thing they encouraged us to do, was get our stuff out on paper, because it really helps just your mind, like getting it out and putting it out, not necessarily publicly into the world, but out on something else rather than just staying in your mind. And that helped me tremendously. So I would love to get that out and read some of that stuff to you guys one day. Like, maybe one day soon. I didn't even think about that. I would have done that today. Because there's some deep, dark crap in there. Oh my goodness. If you guys are here and you haven't left it a thumbs up, if you could give it a thumbs up, I really, really appreciate it. It just helps get this out more to recommended and all the things. So I really appreciate that. And those of you that have already done so, thank you. You're so beautiful. Thank you. Oh, Sarah. Sarah's my girl, you guys. Sarah knows everything. Don't go to her asking for anything, because she knows everything. But you guys know everything besides just one specific part of my story, which I'm going to put out there in my addiction story, just so you know. It's not like it's going to be hidden forever. It's just for right now. Yes, girl, I literally get the panic attacks thinking about the person I used to be. Yep, Steph gets it. Yeah, and Stephanie, thank you so much for being here and just like understanding, because I know you I know a lot of people are like very understanding that are here and opening their hearts and their minds to hearing this. It's nice to have someone like Steph that's here that gets it like deep down in their gut, you know what I mean, and in your heart. Christina, love you. From school. Oh my gosh, already? Oh my gosh, it's 1:30. I have 3 hours before I gotta go get Lil. Thank you for being so honest and open. Thank you. Thank you, Christina. Christina, I love you so much. Stephanie, Lacey, I really hope, thank you for saying that I inspired you. Like, I can't take credit for that. You came up with that on your own. I think it's amazing that you want to do that. And remember, like, if you were to ever put that out there publicly, and like write a book, or just anyone in general, you have no idea how many people you could help. I had no idea how many people I helped on just pulling up my Instagram live the other day and just randomly talking about my addiction in general. I had no idea. So you have no idea how many people you could help by just putting your story out there. It doesn't have to be about addiction. It doesn't have to be about this or that. Everyone has their stories and their struggles that they've gone through in their life. So just always remember that. So let me just, I'm going to put down my Instagram handle so you guys can come follow me over there, because that's where I'm going to go live the most, on Instagram. So just because it's so simple. Shoot, it's not letting me. Hey Sarah, do you mind writing my Instagram handle on here? And then maybe I can like pin the comment or something like that. It's not like letting me, and I don't know, I don't want to mess up anything over here. I wish I could text with you, or even through the phone. If you, I don't know if you have Instagram, Lacey. The things I've been through are the things so many people. If you have Instagram, definitely, I mean, I'm on there all the time messaging with people. I just got caught up on my messages, I think, for the most part. But even if you create an Instagram, you don't have to have like followers or posts or do anything with it, but just to like be able to talk to each other. That's the best way. And there's also a messaging part of YouTube that I saw a little bit ago. So there's also that, and that's private as well. But that's the best way to like, for us to talk, is Instagram for sure. Because I keep it all private. All my messages that I talk, they're all kept private. Like anything that anyone has ever told me. And I've heard a lot of stuff. And I'm not that popular, but I've heard a lot of stuff. Thanks, Sarah. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's just my handle. It's just at Jessica Nicole Faust. Yeah, it looks like it does link. It shows up as a link. Let me check actually. Yep. Yeah, it's just at Jessica Nicole Faust. But yeah, the link is even better. Thanks, Sarah. You're the best. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. And I hope that kind of gave you, and I mean, another part of it that I could give you is the first time I ever tried H. Stay tuned for that, because if you were on my Instagram live, you already know what happened, but that's a big part of something that was just, I was so naive, and now that I look back is so traumatizing and just like really effed up. So that'll be a part of my addiction story. And the biggest part of my addiction story is coming. Because that, I don't know what people's reaction to that is going to be, but yeah, just to end this on, the first time I tried H, I saw someone die right in front of me and come back to life, but was dead for probably 15 minutes, like maybe 10 minutes. So to leave you with, don't do any of this crap, okay? I'll leave you with that. So as of 9:18 last week, YouTube messages have gone, oh, they've gone away. Shoot. Thanks, Katie, for letting me know that. Darn it. But Lacey, yeah, if you get Instagram, and you don't even have to like use it for anything else, but we could chat over there for sure. And we can even message, like chat, like video chat, and chat like face-to-face video. So yeah. It's hard. My best friend, my bestie, I helped her realize it's okay. They'll be fine with whatever you tell them. Promise. Sarah, thank you. Because I'm very nervous about that. But I've been wanting to give that out for a long time. So I don't think anyone would guess what it is, to be honest. Do you think, Sarah? I don't think anyone would even guess. So anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Sorry for the lengthy video. If you stuck in there with me, thank you so much. If you were here even just for a little bit, thank you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're rewatching, thank you, and you made it all the way through. Props to you, because this was lengthy. I know it was kind of going to be lengthy, but you know, that's how it is. So I love you guys beyond. Thank you so much for all of the comments. The messages I've gotten on Instagram is absolutely incredible and insane. I've never gotten messages like this before. And yeah, so hopefully, Lacey, we can connect. If not, leave a comment on this video, like after I have it up, because I'll leave this video up. And then, Sarah, let me go back to, I'm trying to pin, whatever, I'll go back to it. hopefully we can connect, Lacey. And yeah, anyone else that's on here that doesn't have Instagram or hasn't followed me on Instagram, come follow me on Instagram, because that's where I've been talking about this a lot more, and also just where I'm more active. I vlog every day on my Insta stories. So to keep up in real time, follow me over on Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. And double check that notification bell. Make sure it's hit to all. And I'll have the vlog up for you as soon as I possibly can. And yeah, I love you guys so much. Sarah, thank you for being here. And all of you, literally, thank you so, so much. I can't thank you enough. So thanks for listening. Have a great day, guys. How do I do this? Press the X. I want to make sure it saves. Okay.